Perfecto, excelente. Sean todos muy bienvenidos, sean muy bienvenidas a esta entrevista, en este podcast. Estamos muy contentos por la acogida, por la recibida que hemos tenido. Nos sentimos honrados. El día de hoy, por otra oportunidad, está José Martínez con nosotros aquí compartiendo. Muchas gracias. Bienvenido, José, a este espacio. Tú hoy vas a estar encargado de hacer esta entrevista. Y por otro lado tenemos a... eh, ¿cómo se pronuncia? Justin. ¿No? ¿Sí?
Sí, Justin. Ujú.
Justin.
Justin. Yes, Justin Hughes.
Muy bien. Quien va a estar aquí conversando, ¿cierto? Junto a José Martín. Al igual que en otra oportunidad, como esta entrevista va a ser en inglés y que abajo va a tener los, digamos así, los subtítulos, ¿cierto? Como va a tener los subtítulos. En esta oportunidad, igual que en otros momentos, José Martínez va a estar conversando, haciendo la entrevista aquí con nuestro invitado especial, donde vamos a estar conversando sobre TOC de escrupulosidad, ¿no? Ese va a ser el tema específico del que vamos a estar conversando y el cual vamos a estar abordando, ¿vale?
Muy
Bien,
bien, gracias Martín.
perfecto.
Voy a hablar
Adelante
unos
entonces.
pedazos entonces en español y ahorita igual empezamos con la conversación con Justin. Para
Sin
quienes no
problema.
me conocen, soy José Martínez, soy de la Ciudad de México y soy terapeuta especialista en TOC. Gracias Martín. Thank you Justin. Voy a presentar un poco a Justin. Digo, justo él es estadounidense, si no mal recuerdo. You are from Dallas, right Justin? You are at
Yes,
Dallas. Él
Dallas,
está en
Texas.
Dallas.
hmm
Dallas, Texas, en Estados
hmm
Unidos, y a Justin lo conocí justo en una de las conferencias de la IOCDF, que es la fundación más importante de TOC en Estados Unidos, y Justin, pues bueno, él tiene su canal, pueden buscarlo en Justin, KHUGHES.com, y pues bueno, él tiene su canal y lo pueden buscar en Instagram también. Él sube bastante información, lo pueden buscar igual por su nombre, Justin K Hughes LPC. El CPC MA es justamente su grado académico. Él es terapeuta en TOC y él para mí es de las personas que más saben de TOC de escrupulosidad junto con el doctor Ted Witzig. Entonces, justo, pues bueno, él vendrá a hablarnos. So, Justin, I introduce you to in Spanish. So, thank you so much again. It's a pleasure for me to having you here. So, let's talk about OCD and scrupulosity.
Let's talk about it. Thank you and gracias.
It's a pleasure. So, yeah, I was telling the audience that you are a great psychotherapist, specialist in OCD, and I think you and Dr. Ted Witzig are the most psychologists, specialists in OCD that I really met that really know about scrupulosity.
hmm
Maybe one of the audience, it's the first time they heard about that, about scrupulosity or religious OCD or whatever. So yeah,
hmm
can you tell them what is this? What do you mean with scrupulosity and OCD?
Of course. Yes. So I'll start with just the definition of OCD. In OCD, we have intrusive, unwanted thoughts, urges, or images that come to mind. They're distressing, they're very difficult to experience. And then there are compulsions to get the relief from them. It's not the same as wanting them. It's not I want to be so neat, clean, tidy, religious, etc. It starts from an intrusive place. And so the compulsions then are things that seem obvious sometimes, like hand washing or checking doors and locks. But sometimes they're not so obvious, such as compulsive prayer or reassurance seeking with others. Are you sure? Is everything okay? And people can do this, of course, in their relationship with God as well. And so scrupulosity is the word that describes OCD when it concerns matters of faith, religion, spirituality, or morality, because sometimes it's not always related to a specific religious view or belief. It can actually show up for people who are atheists or agnostics or otherwise undecided, and can be extraordinarily distressing when their obsessions loop and spiral around these thoughts of morality or whether or not they're doing the right thing.
Very deep explanation. Thank you so much, Justin. So yeah, it's really it's a really broad thematic, because most people really are engaged on compulsions about scrupulosity, and they don't know that it's about OCD themes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
yeah, in fact, so much people, they really are a very religious person, and maybe they not recognize that they struggle with scrupulosity, OCD. So what do you consider, how is the big difference, or how they can differentiate the basic differences about scrupulosity and a very
Mm.
functional religious daily life style?
Great question. And this is very important. So, for one, if a person who doesn't have OCD is practicing their faith or looking to a certain moral good that they wish to incorporate in their life, maybe giving or helping the poor or so on and so forth, uh, for that person, it tends to create a sense of a connection with their community, with others. If they walk away, they may feel positive, or it doesn't mean that they're always just feeling happy in doing that, but uh, oftentimes it serves a very functional, very beneficial purpose for them. So, one of the first clues that we can pay attention to with whether or not something is OCD is how distressing. Does a person get the type of relief or comfort from things that most other people without OCD seem to get? So whether that's going to church or prayer or helping the poor, does the person walk away generally saying, okay, this was good. I'm good. I mean, maybe this was a busy day, or maybe I was stressed on this day, but okay, that was a good thing. Or do they feel distressed? Secondarily, I would say that the looping is one of the key things to look out for. So whenever I tell faith leaders or family members about how to identify OCD, oftentimes just asking a question or two can help a lot to get further into understanding the possibility of OCD. And a simple question you can ask is, uh, what is well, what is the function is what we say as clinicians, but for a person who's not a clinician, they can say, well, what is the reason that you did this? So when you prayed again, was it because you felt afraid and distressed, or did you do it because that's what you would expect any other person who's faithful to do? And right there, based on that answer, we often have a good idea as to that looping or spiraling that can happen if it's OCD.
Thank you so much, Justin. Yeah, it's maybe I can say that most of psychotherapists, they really struggle as well trying to notice this difference about
Mhm.
what is not, scrupulosity, OCD, or and what what is really OCD within with scrupulosity. So yeah, what you can say about what a therapist, what a practitioner, what a clinician has to consider when they attend or when they see clients with these themes about scrupulosity. What is the basic things they have to consider?
Yes, yeah. So is it causing impairment, or disability? Does it negatively impact that person's life? So at first, it's confusing because it could look like the person is just very dedicated, very devout. So if a person wants to pray for 2 hours a day, a family member or faith leader may actually look at that person and say, "Wow, good job. this, that's amazing." But underneath the surface, if it's OCD, there will be some impairment. So that person will be so distressed or afraid of not doing something right or doing something wrong. And so it will impair their life in some way. So maybe the very thing that they want to do, they stop doing unless if it's just right. So maybe they don't pray unless if they feel a certain way, or maybe they don't listen to prayers by other people because it could be too triggering or distressing based on their own theme. Maybe they start avoiding going to church or talking about their faith because they're too raw or tender from the examples that might come up. So the impairments is one of the biggest things that makes a difference.
Thank you, Justin. So I can see that most of the most common examples with people that are very religious is Martin Lutero, right?
Yes, yes,
But it's one, I think is the most frequent examples that most of people can see that OCD is not just about faith, right? It's not,
yes,
yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
That's right. And I would say that it's not at all about faith. It's now, as a person of faith myself, I think very, very important. But OCD simply takes that thing that feels threatening, that the person cares about, and twists it. So whether it's the health of a loved one or ourselves, whether it's safety or well-being or faith or religious practice, it's just simply taking that available interest or concern or fear that a person has, and it only looks like it's a faith thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's so great to talk about this because maybe people they really when they see this video in the future, they might really understand more about scrupulosity and not just about blasphemes or
Yes, blasphemy.
yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, so what do you can say, Justin, that what is the most recent content or what is the most new information about the scrupulosity that most of clinicians maybe didn't know about scrupulosity like
Hmm.
5 years or 10 years ago? What do you
Hmm.
consider what is the most important thing
Hmm.
information that they
Hmm.
have to know about?
Good question. I My first thought is I don't know if there's really that much new, but let me comment towards what I think is new for a lot of people is seeing it as a subset of OCD, um, rather than just faith or religious moral practice. I think that that is the thing that's just still so surprising to so many people because we've been treating scrupulosity ever since we've had our best treatments, which are SSRIs on medication, but even more effective as a whole, or impactful, I should say, as a whole, are cognitive behavioral therapy with ERP. Now, there's other therapies, ACT, ICBT, et cetera. But ever since we've had ERP and SSRIs in the 1980s, I'm that old now, in the 1980s, we've known about scrupulosity and even before then. And so I haven't seen a lot in this realm that's new. What is new every single day in my office here, this is my counseling office, where uh, often people will walk in and be so surprised that it wasn't just uh, they them being bad, them being terrible, them being awful at their faith or a faith problem. And still to this day, I think a majority of people get those things intertwined and say, well, maybe you have OCD, but yeah, it's probably a lack of faith somehow. It's probably and I'm not at all going to say that we shouldn't explore. I think we should the topics of faith practice, and we have to do good work with OCD. So back to the newness, I haven't really seen much new. Oh, I can tell you one thing here in a second. I did just think of one research study. But there's not a lot that strikes me that's new on the OCD treatment side. What's new is the people who are helping those who suffer, and those who suffer coming to this awareness that maybe this could be OCD and not a faith issue.
Yeah, it's a really important thing here because most people, they really get a basic thing about the OCD, and maybe this information can broaden about more about the understanding on this theme. It's important. So I have another question, Justin. What most of my clients, as well, in my personal experience, when I was 13, I struggled with scrupulosity themes because I was very scared about. I have some doubts about being a religious person. I was a little frustrated and angry with God, with Jesus, and stuff like that. And most of my clients can think like they are really afraid about OCD and scrupulosity because they are afraid because they consider themselves as atheist or a person, a non-religious person, but they really struggle with OCD. How the ERP, how the treatment can be settled, can be how the clinicians have to really arrange this treatment for them. It's some kind different. What do you consider in this?
Yes, well, yeah, I think the main difference is the understanding, what's the compassion for what this person is struggling with. A lot of times, if a person wrestles with moral obsessions in scrupulosity, they feel even more alone, actually, because a person of faith, like for myself as a Christian, I know that a lot of Christians know once they come in, they learn that it's OCD, they know 10 other people or can discover a lot of other people. But on the moral OCD side, I think just starting with that empathy, that validation, that's also a valid theme, that person may not necessarily have a specific faith concern or focus that's at the center of that, but they may have a lot of compulsions that keep them stuck, including compulsive prayer, and sometimes feel embarrassed to even admit that, and afraid to admit that as well. And so I think just slowing down, first of all, like we do as clinicians. One of the expert clinicians who often speaks at the conference says, slow down to get there quicker. So we slow down. And we have to look at the OCD cycle, which is the simple is in 4 parts. It's the intrusion, the distress, the compulsion, and then temporary relief, but that just reinforces, once again, the intrusion or the obsession. So we have to slow down and say, well, what is the obsessive thought? Maybe I'm a terrible person because I didn't help that homeless person that I pass, the person sitting on the street who's unhoused. Okay, well, so what makes that an obsession? Is it repetitive? Does it cause distress? Yeah, like I want to help people who are poor or needy, but every time I walk down the streets of Mexico City, I can't I can't have the rest of my day, or the streets of Dallas or any big city. I'm so distressed that I avoid going into the city because of having these thoughts. Okay. So here's the distress, here's the intrusion. And then what are the compulsions? I avoid going places that I otherwise would. I ruminate on it. I check whether or not this is okay according to my standards. These are all examples, and we just have to break that down. And then once we do, uh, one of the biggest things that we do that's different with scrupulosity that we have to do is to clarify what is that person's actual value or actual belief. Because if the person comes in and they say, I'm an atheist, but I'm concerned about my compulsions in these areas, and I do care about whether or not I help the poor, then okay, great. So what is an appropriate line to work with? Like, when are you helping with the poor? When is that okay to be enough? When can you go home and now be with your family versus having to go out and be out helping people all night, all the time, not getting sleep or whatever else? So we spend a little bit of time in that, identifying, okay, what's the standard that I'm referencing? And we can all grow after we've worked with that standard and then begun to remove the compulsions. And then we can continue to evaluate, do I want to do that more or less, same, different? So that's just one illustration of how we might work with that.
Wow, really amazing. That's why I love to talk about this with specialists like you, because these themes are so deep that the audience really know much about this, because there's a lack of information sometimes. Most of information it's in English, but most information in Spanish is so poor. So yeah, there's a few information about velocity and things like that.
Yeah, so maybe we could collaborate to
Yeah,
I could do an article, and you might be able to
yeah,
help with your
yeah.
insights or story and in
Yeah,
translation as
yeah, I
well.
think it will be wonderful, because
Mm.
it's a really interesting thing, a really great topic. So, Justin, yeah, I would like to do a resume for the audience. Yeah, so what you can share for clinicians and people that are recovering for OCD?
Mhm.
What you can share to them that they really have the basic things here about the
Yeah.
scrupulosity.
Yeah. I'm not even going to start with myself, because I think that the best singular one place that you can go is actually the IOCDF, International OCD Foundation. They have resources in Spanish as well. They have a conference now, so uh, um, the Spanish conference, and the tracks for the main annual conference next year in Seattle in July, Seattle, United States of America, Washington. Um, I believe they have, do they have some Spanish tracks there at the conference? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. So IOCDF, International OCD Foundation.org. And then on scrupulosity, you can just put a hashtag or a slash faith dash OCD, or just look around on the website. And I've contributed a number of articles and things there. I'm on their Action Council. Now, if you do want to look at some of my information, you can go to my website at justinkahughes.com. And I do have an online course. I actually, this isn't officially announced, but I do have a book in the works for this next year. So just various resources. And I just want to be of help to anybody, whether they share every approach that I have or share my faith or whatnot. I want to help anyone who is suffering from OCD.
Yeah. Sure. I forgot to mention that you have a course. It's a brief course, but it's so great. So yeah. So Justin, you are giving a conference next month in the OCD So Call, right?
Yes,
Right.
yeah. OCD SoCal is having their online OCD conference. So I'll be offering a panel on scrupulosity. And though it's geared towards clinicians, anyone can join and watch. And then there's also the Faith and OCD conference, which is for anybody asking questions about OCD and faith. What a wonderful first place to start. They even have breakouts by faith group, beliefs, or none, including atheists, etc. So it's a really special time to understand how to grow if you have OCD or supporting someone who does. Wonderful resources.
Yes, thank you so much, Justin. So we hope maybe we can do another, with another talk like this in the future with
That sounds
Martin.
good.
So, Martín, pues bueno, estamos finalizando y pues le estoy agradeciendo a Justin, ya nos compartió un poco de información. So, yeah, Justin, thank you as well. Martin gonna give some brief words, okay?
Thank you so much, Jose and Martin.
Bien, muchas gracias por venir aquí a este canal. Lo estoy diciendo en español, pero de verdad que agradecidos de que pudieras venir a hacer la divulgación. Bueno, ahí José Martínez después te dará las gracias en mi nombre, pero abrazo fuerte desde Chile y vale, muchas gracias por venir a hacer divulgación.
Thank you so much, Justin. He's so glad having you here, and he's so thankful about your collaboration here. You are muted. Sorry, Justin.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much again. Have a
Bien,
great day.
You too. Thank you, everyone.
listo. Bye bye. Nos vemos en otra oportunidad. Estés bien.
Hasta
Bye.
luego. Gracias. Bye bye. Gracias.
Gracias.